Hello everyone, my name's Marcus and I'm a fibre artist from Scotland, and today's video is going to be a project update video where I'll be taking a look back at what I've been working on over the last few months. It's been a while since I've done an update video, and that's just because life, as always, is incredibly busy. If you remember, I knit some baby clothes for my sister's child. My sister has actually been in the UK with her little boy, so I got to meet him, which was absolutely lovely. Um, but I also got to see just how large he is. He is ginormous. So everything that I knit for him was like the kind of 3 month age, um, and from birth, none of that fit because he's very large. So all of the little rainbow sweater that I made him, I think that's currently being worn by one of his teddy bears. So I mean that's cute. But this just means that I initially I was planning on I had a few ideas in my head for things I was going to make for when he was turning about one. Um, because they live in Australia, I kind of thought it'd be nice to have some knitted garments for their winter. Um, but I'm thinking I might actually go ahead and make them in like the kind of 18-month size range because at the rate that he's growing already, I think when he gets to 1 year old, you know, 1 year sized things might not really do much for him. But plenty of time to think about it. It's going into their summer, so I don't think they really need any knitted items because their summers are a lot better than the ones I experience here in Scotland. Um, so yeah, enough waffling. Let's just get stuck in. Um, Only have one finished object to show, and that's these socks that I started. So in the last update video, I knit the cuff, and I'd kind of said that I wanted just a little something just to spice this up. The yarn's very busy, so I didn't want to do anything too complicated because you're not going to get the visual effect of that because of how busy the yarn is. But I just wanted something just to make it mentally a bit more stimulating to work on rather than just doing plain stocking it. So I found this pattern on Ravelry. I believe it's called Skippy socks or Skypey socks. It's just, yeah, let's see if we can focus. It's just a small little detail, but it definitely did make it a lot more interesting to work on than just plain stocking it because it just hasn't been exciting me lately doing stocking it. So yeah, I'll link the pattern down below. It was free, um, and it's super easy. After I'd done it the first time, I had it memorized. It's just kind of a 2 row pattern repeat, so there's not too much to remember anyway. But this technique here, um, it's like a combination of like slipping stitches and passing stitches over things. Um, I hadn't done I'd done all the things separately, but I'd never kind of amalgamated all the different techniques into one stitch before. So that was new and it was fun and it was easy, which is great. So finish them off. These haven't been washed as yet. They've just been flung on some sock blockers for YouTube videos and eventually Instagram when I get round to posting on Instagram again because that's been a while. But yeah, they are a little bit snug. I think it was this year. No, it was last year actually. I started knitting my socks on 2.25mm needles, whereas historically I've used 2.5mm. And for the most part, they've been fine, but these have come up a little bit snug. So I don't know if maybe it's a yarn or if my tension's gone a little bit weird. I have been really stressed this year, so it could be my tension has got a little bit tight. But I don't know, they're like they still fit. They're still comfortable to wear for the 5 minutes I've worn them. Um, but yeah, these are a little bit snugger than other socks that I've knit, even with the 2.25 millimeter needles. Um, so I don't think I need to adjust anything. Like I don't think I'm going to go up in needle size for socks, and I don't think I'm going to increase the number of stitches because every other socks that I've knit has been fine. So I don't know. I'm just going to accept it as a one-off because I've used this brand of yarn before, so it's not as if it's different. It's just West Yorkshire Spinners. This is the Peacock colourway if you're interested. I have never seen a peacock that resembles this in the slightest, but it is pretty. It's not a peacock though. So that's them. And that's the only fully finished object that I can think of anyway. I don't think I've made anything else, well, to completion. So we'll just, well, hold that thought. One thing that I've been working on, which is not really a finished object, but it kind of is, and it's along the same theme. I have been doing some visible mending on hand knit socks. And you may have seen this if you watched the Q&A video that I done, where I done some visible mending whilst answering questions. But if you haven't, this here is a darning loom, and it's basically a way of weaving a small square on top of fabric that is, either thinning or a complete hole. And I've really enjoyed this. I have had so much fun because I have had a pile of socks that need mended for so long, but mending socks has always been a chore for me. I've never enjoyed it, but it's been that way. You spend so long knitting a pair of socks and you invest so much time into them that if they get a hole in them, I am not throwing them out. I am gonna, fix them and wear them for years to come. But since buying this thing, I'm almost excited to find holes in my socks because it means I get to fix it, and it's really fun. If you can get a hold of a darning loom, I really recommend it. So to show you, I'll show you my favourite so far, and that's this little one here. So this was just done with a variegated yarn, but the way the colours have pulled in this square, it does look like a quite lovely tartan, which is great. And it's super bright colours. This yarn is actually Siobhan's Crafts, and they're all UV reactive colours. These have faded a bit because these have been worn a hell of a lot since I mended them. You would think that I'm trying to wear holes in my socks, but yeah. The interesting thing is that all of my socks need mended in the same places, just above the heel. Every single sock. But I'll show you this one. This one is also just a variegated yarn, and it's just interesting the way that the colours pulled, that it's kind of turned into 4 little sections with no effort on my part. But when I seen that, it kind of made me think, well, could I play about with colours and kind of try to make things look a certain way? So do I have an example of that? Yes. So this is one where on the darning loom, I've used, different colours for the 2 different sections when I've been winding on to create the warp, and then I've changed the weft halfway through as well to create this kind of interesting checkerboard kind of pattern. But yeah, so that's my mended socks. There is more of them, but they've all gone kind of back into the sock cycle, so some of them are in the wash, in the sock drawer, on my feet. But yeah, I would really recommend investing in a darning loom if you can, because it is so much fun, and it actually, for me, it motivates me to fix my socks that need fixing. So, on to the whips. The most exciting, I would say, in my opinion, is the Officer Sweater by Maxim Sear. So I finished the front panel. I'm sorry, the lighting is going very weird and harsh. It's autumn now, so the light is rapidly declining. But so I finished the front part of this, and it is quite rolled up just now. But I finished the front, and now I am working on the back, which is, I believe, turned itself inside out. So I'm working on the back panels now. So all that's left is to knit up the back, do the sleeves, and then I think I need to join the four parts together and kind of do the neck. I haven't looked too far ahead in the pattern, but I think that's a basic idea. I haven't been feeling super motivated to work on this, if I'm honest. I'm still enjoying it, but just with being as busy as I tend to be, because it's kind of a big project and it's like plain stocking it, I only really want to work on this if I know that I'm going to be sitting down for the whole evening. You know, if I know that I've got like 3 hours that I can just sit and, you know, watch some TV or a film or whatever, and I can just knit away. Whereas if for example, when if I'm in the house by myself with the dog, I kind of don't want to work in it because, you know, I need to be picking up and putting it back down again, to kind of, if she's stealing things, which she's getting better with, or if she's jumping up on the counters, which she's not getting better with, and if she wants out to the toilet or something. So I feel like, I don't know, like, it's not that I need to focus, it's just stalking out, but I need to be able to just sit down and relax so that I can enjoy working on this. Because I don't find starting with stalking it that enjoyable, because I just feel like I need to be able to get into a good rhythm. I don't know if that even makes sense. It's how my head's working just now, and I just need to roll with it because I can't change that. But yeah, there is a definite chill in the air. It's honestly, it was, the equinox was on like the 21st, the 22nd of September, and the 23rd of September, there was such a coldness in the air in here. Like, it is like on the dot, it's autumn now, it's cold, I need a jumper. So yeah, I'm still just trying to carve out time to be able to work on it, but I'm definitely getting excited to be wearing it. So I think that's gonna speed me up and motivate me to get cracking. So that is my sweater. And up next, in my Banksy bag, I have my crocheted northeasterly blanket, if I can find it. There we are. So I have made some good progress on this. So I think the last time I had one strip completed, but I've now completed a second strip, and this was this strip using yarn that my friend Leora sent me as part of a scrap swap. So I finished Leora's. This was the last colour of Leora's, this really fun yellow green. And then I've gone in with some of my own scraps. And this is actually the yarn that I made the socks with. Oh, it's getting really dark really quick. And then I've put some good progress into another strip. So I think I'm maybe, yeah, I'm past the halfway point with this strip. But I feel like I'm running out of scraps already though. But that can't be the case. I think I just need to look harder. I'm going to switch on the light. Okay, that is much better, but it's also very harsh, but it is what it is. So that's my crocheted northeasterly. I'm really enjoying that one because that's one that if I start, it's fine. Like I don't, for some reason, that doesn't upset my rhythm if I'm kind of picking up and putting it down. I don't know. There isn't really any logic there, but again, that's just how my brain works. Yeah, that's what I'm also kind of excited for. As soon as it gets cold, I want blankets. And I already have my other crocheted blanket that I finished last year, which I have been wearing like a robe again, but I need more. What can I say? So the only other fibre craft that I have to show you is some yarn that I've dyed. I have had to take a bit of a break from dyeing this year, just with everything that's been going on, with like my day job and outside of work as well. It's just been kind of a manic year. But I have been dyeing again. Not huge volumes of yarn, but I've been enjoying what I have been dyeing. It's October now, but all September I've been feeling so spooky and Halloweeny. I've watched all of the Halloween Town films on Disney Plus. I loved them when I was younger. I watched the original Beetlejuice recently, and I'm still hoping to go to see the new Beetlejuice film. I want to actually go to the cinema to see that, and I'm not really a cinema person, but sometimes you have to make exceptions. But the spooky feeling that I've been having is just motivating me to make spooky things. So the first yarn I have to show you is quite obviously Beetlejuice inspired. I haven't actually named this yet. I think this one is going to be called Showtime. And this is self-striping. So you've got the white, the black, and the green. The green is not a solid green. You can see some of the different shades here. Maybe if I go, yeah, there you go. So there's splashes of darker green going through it just to give that real kind of Beetlejuice theme. And I think this will look so fun knit up as socks. I love self-striping, but this, yeah. I think I've dyed 8 skeins of this. I think I'll definitely need to hold on to one for myself. But I'm hoping to have this listed over the weekend. Today is Thursday, so I'll maybe get things photographed tomorrow night, and maybe listed on Saturday. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. There's no point in me trying to plan too much into the future because the future isn't really mine to decide. So this is potentially Showtime, the self-striping, and I also have this one, which is also quite clearly Beetlejuice inspired. So the reason that I'm not too sure what the names are is because they both come from the same inspiration source. One of them I want to be called Showtime, the other one I'm yet to decide. But this one isn't self-striping, this is just a variegated yarn. But again, you've got the grey, the whites, and you've got the green with all the kind of different shades of green. So you've got you know, bright colours, pale colours, dark colours, and there's some teal splashes as well. And again, I just think, because I wear black all the time, I just think this would be so much fun. And I think it would really suit me. But I will be listing, I don't have, I've got 4 skeins of this. So I think I'll just list all 4 of them. So the last thing I have to show isn't directly Fibercraft related, but it kind of is at the same time, which is 3D printing. This past month I bought a 3D printer, and I've been kind of slowly learning how to print 3-dimensional objects, which I was kind of nervous to get into it just because I'm not super technically minded. I can work computers and electronic devices fine, but it's just not something that I naturally have a draw to. I quite enjoy kind of analog physical making. But surprisingly, I'm doing okay. For the most part, I've just been printing other people's files that have been shared online. And even that, there is a learning curve to printing files even by other people, because there's still a lot of tweaking that needs done. You need to kind of learn the software, the particular software that you're using, because that can be different from the person that created the file, and their printer is going to be different. So there is, there is a learning curve even using other people's files. But I've also been starting to design my own files, which it is difficult for me to do this. I've never really done any, I don't even know what you would call it because I'm so uneducated in that field. I've never really done any digital painting at all, let alone 3-dimensional designing. As a whole other concept. But I've actually been kind of enjoying it, and it's kind of working. So I'll show you some of the things that I've printed so far. I've printed a hell of a lot, but I won't go through the full list. So I've printed a boat shuttle for my rigid heddle loom. So this was somebody else's file, but I've modified the dimensions slightly so that it will work better with a rigid heddle loom. So the shed, which is the gap between the strands of yarn, that's created that you pass the yarn through. On a rigid heddle, that shed is a little bit smaller than it is on other looms. So boat shuttles tend to not they're not designed for rigid heddles. So by tweaking the file for this, I've squashed it down a bit, which limits the size of bobbin I can put in it. But that's fine, that's not an issue. And yeah, I've not used it for weaving yet, but it does what it's supposed to do. And I'm really happy with that. But now that I've kind of learned to an extent how to create 3-dimensional objects, I might try have a crack at designing my own that maybe fits my needs a little bit more. Because although I've tweaked this, I feel like to get what I really want, I would need to start from scratch. And now that I have a kind of foundational understanding of how 3D modelling is done, I think I might be able to kind of try something. I'm not expecting perfection just yet. I'll give myself a grace period. Yeah, so this has been great. The actual bobbins that are in it, I've 3D printed as well. This one's also got yarn on it. I've printed multiples, but and again, I've had to tweak them to fit the dimensions of this. But so far that's been great. And this, this is a stick shuttle. So this is again used for weaving, but it's, as you can see, it's a lot thinner, and yarn would be wrapped around this and then fed through the shed of the rigid heddle. So this one I designed myself, which is why it's not great. It's a lot wider than I actually need. It's a good bit shorter. I was originally going to make a third piece to put in the middle, but I kind of realised that it's not how I want it to be, so I was like, I'm not going to continue working on this. This will still function as a reed, but it's not where I want to be with it. But so this is actually two different parts that have been joined together. Might be easier. Yeah. So it's been joined together, and I've created basically an anchor point. And then they've just been super glued together, and it's pretty sturdy. And although it's not perfect, I'm still really impressed that I was able to, even make something as basic as this. For someone that, as I said, not technically minded, I have zero experience designing three-dimensional objects. It's a thing. It works. I made an image of this on a computer and then was able to print it out, which is still really cool. I think eventually I'll get over the kind of the excited novelty stage of 3D printing, where I'm just amused that I can click a button and a three-dimensional object appears. There's generally a few hours in between those 2 points, but yeah. But yeah, so it's not directly Fibercraft related, but the biggest inspiration for me to start 3D printing was fibre tools. I've known for a while that there's a lot of things that can be 3D printed directly related to fibre tools. Specifically the electric eel wheel that I have. The creator of that, Dreaming Robots, I believe that they have loads of open source aspects of their wheels. So the bobbins, for example, that's open source. They've created files for people to 3D print their own at home. They encourage third-party sellers that are wanting to 3D print them. They encourage that. They endorse that. They even have a list on their website of people who are 3D printing these parts, so that you can find something more local, which is, I think that's brilliant of the company to do that. But then there's also loads of people that have tweaked aspects and made accessories, and it's all 3D printable. So that was kind of my original inspiration to get a 3D printer, but I'm now just 3D printing anything I can think of because I'm excited about it, which was always going to happen. So that's all that I have to show you in this month's update video. I think in the coming months I might have a little bit more to show you, and that's because I've decided to bring my loom into my house, whereas usually it lives in my studio, which is in the garden, and the studio doesn't really have Wi-Fi access, and it doesn't have running water, and therefore it doesn't have a toilet either. And I feel like that's been a big block between me and my loom. And I want to do a lot more weaving. That's kind of something that I've become really passionate about, but I just haven't been able to explore enough with. So for the winter months, I'm going to bring it up into the house, and that way, if I've got a spare 10 minutes, I can weave for 10 minutes. Whereas when it was in the studio, if I had a spare 10 minutes, that kind of wasn't really enough to do anything, because, by the time I went down to the studio and kind of got everything set up, and if I get the heater running and kind of wait for things to heat up, I kind of need to be able to sacrifice a good amount of time if I'm going down to the studio. Whereas if it's in the house, I can sit in front of the TV, I can do a little bit of weaving, I can go to the toilet, which is nice. I have access to, I do have a kettle in the studio, but if I don't have, I have like a big water bottle that I use to like feed the kettle. And if that's out, I can't really be bothered running up and down the stairs to fill it. But yeah, so I'm hoping that that gives me a bit more freedom to craft and weave. The loom itself is 80 centimetres wide, so it's wide. This isn't a big house, and this is definitely not a big room. So it can't live in this room permanently, but for the winter months, I think the benefits of me having it here will be worth it. It'll be worth the inconvenience, because I think it's going to be the difference between me weaving and me not weaving, and I would rather be weaving. So yeah. But thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye.